Good Wednesday, everybody. Welcome in. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. He's Big Joe Doing. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier is along for the ride as well. And Brandon Bigsby is back at the studio. Hope you're having a great day so far. You heard the press conference. Chris MacFarland has been formally introduced as the president of hockey operations and general manager of the Nashville Predators. He is going to join us at some point here in the next 3 hours, and also Bill Haslam, the majority owner of the Nashville Predators, is going to join us as well. So you will hear from two key figures of the Predators organization. But, Joe, we were here for the press conference, and I will say I believe it's a great day for the Preds.
Well, packed house, and McFarland answered all the questions as you want him to know about the franchise and how he got the job and building the roster and how about going about things. But, look, he's only been here a day, right? So you're going to ask him to, climb Mount Everest today? No, you're not. So it was good. Sean Henry, Bill Haslam, love this guy. Terry Crisp loves it. So everybody that needs to like this guy loves this guy. So it's a big day for the Nashville Predators.
He's a hockey guy.
Yeah.
And
right?
you know what? I love the emotion. You could tell it was really hard for him to leave Colorado because he had been there for 11 seasons, 11 years, had a lot of relationships that he'd built. Obviously, there's a really good team, but, as you know, and you and I have talked about many, many times, to grow, sometimes you got to jump out of the nest. And I feel like for him, when this opportunity came about, he looked at it as, here's my chance to go and put my stamp on a team that's just mine.
Yeah.
And so he ultimately took that leap, and I think it's going to turn out to be a good leap. I really – there are times where they'll introduce somebody and a team will introduce somebody and you're like, okay, yeah, sure. And, and you'll try to make it sound good and feel good about it. I actually feel good about this. Like, I really, really do. Like, I think they got a guy that knows what he's talking about. And I cannot press this more. He has zero connection to anything. So he's coming in with a clean slate, and he can make some tough decisions that, that he feels like is going to make this team better.
I love it. And the fact that you hit the ground running, he's that's a change, right? You got to move your family. You got to get to Nashville, get acclimated. And, he said, look, all I know is I walk from the Gulch here, right? So we expect him to know everything about this franchise in 24 hours. It's not going to happen, but he's got a good staff, good people right now around him that could get him where he needs to go, then start building, and then the draft in 3 weeks, right, from Friday?
Yep.
That's right, 3 weeks.
Yep. So, I have talked to a few people, and it's kind of like yesterday. Everything that comes up, every person I talk to about Chris MacFarland is positive. There's not negative. It's like, this is a home run hire for the Preds. He knows what he's doing. And I think that is a really good thing.
And, as they talk about, the governor said, in 5 years, if we're not competing for or winning a Stanley Cup, I'm not going to be happy. And what? I like to hear that. From the boss man of, we'll talk to him in a little bit when he comes back up here about, look, there are expectations. Today's a great day, but there are expectations, and it all boils down to one thing. You know what that is? Winning. That's it. It's the bottom line.
And I like that in the press conference, they referenced being in the murky middle, and that's not where you want to be.
Nope.
And he asked them, like, do you want to make the playoffs every year, or do you want to compete for the Stanley Cup? And the answer was, we want to win.
Yeah.
And I think that's always been the answer. It is nice to make the playoffs every year and have, Colorado has a string like that. The Predators had it for a long time. But you want to put a team on the ice. Like, Colorado will compete for the Stanley Cup for the next at least 3 years.
Yeah.
Vegas has been in that. And say what you want about Vegas. Carolina has been in that. It's hard to win. I'm not saying you're going to win it every year. But those teams, you can say, all right, those are true Stanley Cup contenders. And I know that Bill Haslam and Sean Henry and now Chris MacFarland want to get this organization to that point.
In honor of you, last night I had to do an event in Mount Juliet, and I got home right in time for the third period to start. So I watched the entire third period last night.
Yeah.
And watching Vegas buzz around the ice, I'm like, that's a winner. And this was, I think it might have been tied at the time or they're up by a goal, but you just watch it and you're like, all right, that's the level the Nashville Predators need to get to. Those are the guys and the energy and the passion. And that third period last night, Vegas was relentless. I'm like, all right, I need to see that here. And hopefully Chris MacFarland is the guy to bring that type of team and passion here to Nashville.
So we've kind of moved some things around today because of this press conference. We were going to have Tim Hasselbeck and John McClain. They're going to join tomorrow. We are going to be joined by Bill Haslam here in just a few minutes, the Predators majority owner, and also Chris MacFarland is going to join us at some point during the show on set with us here at Bridgestone Arena at BetMGM. So we'll be able to expand on some of the things that he talked about. And look, I like his honesty of he's asked about, all right, what are you gonna do with the coach? I don't know yet. I just met him. Like,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like we expect and there were some questions like, how do you evaluate that? He's like, I just got here.
Right.
I mean, so I said all the right things, do the right things, but yeah, I mean, it's going to take a process now to figure it out and go forward. And I like the fact that he's outside the family. He's just, and somebody said earlier about there's for the first time, there's no David Poyle or Barry Trotz. And it was like, oh yeah, it's just, you're moving forward and then you want to get the best guy you can here. And so it's a big day for the, yesterday was a big day, but meeting him and and here's something else too. This BetMGM place Bridge packed.
Yes.
Absolutely packed with people here to see this. So that's really good. It's a good feeling if you're a Nashville Predator fan.
It is. And I think there is, kind of a sense of it's a new era. That, there were a lot of people that wanted to see this happen. And now it has. And so now kind of where do you go from here? There's going to be a lot of time to figure that out. But I sense this excitement that, Governor Haslam, like when he was up there and Sean, that they had this, hey, we got our guy. And now the rest of the fan base is like, oh my God, they got their guy.
That's right.
Like they got the guy. This is the guy. So now we'll see. And he's got the president of hockey operations title and general manager title, which means he has carte blanche to build this team.
What's funny is that I'm looking at MacFarland on the podium and I'm thinking he wants to go to work. He's like, this is great. I need to be here, make the announcement, meet everybody. But you could tell it's like, I want to go to work. And if you're a Nashville Predator fan, you like to hear that and feel that. And this guy just gets it together. And look, the draft in 3 weeks, the camp happens after that. Next thing you know, you blink your eye, it's training camp time, and then the season starts in October and you go. So I think this kind of rebridled enthusiasm for the franchise, as they refer to Smashville, is a good thing. And, we talked yesterday, the response on the YouTube chat and the text line, the phone calls was overwhelmingly positive, but it wasn't just 4 or 5 people. I mean, there were so many people on the chat yesterday talking about that. You could still see, and I'll ask Governor Haslam about this, you could still see the passion of Preds fans. It's very, very evident around town, and evident yesterday we were talking about it.
Well, without further ado, I see him walking over here. Let's go ahead and we'll take a break, and we'll talk to Governor Bill Haslam, the majority owner of the Nashville Predators. He will join us coming up next. Chris MacFarland has been introduced as the president of hockey operations and general manager of the Nashville Predators, but Bill Haslam will join us coming up next. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Wednesday, and it has been a fun day at Bridgestone Arena as Chris MacFarland has been hired as the general manager and president of hockey operations of the Nashville Predators. And to talk more about that, Bill Haslam, the owner of the Predators and a former governor of the state of Tennessee. Bill, you've told me to call you Bill, so I'm going to do that. Congratulations. I feel like in listening to you, to listening to Sean, to listening to Chris, you got your guy, and the guy that you wanted all along.
You know, early in the process when the search group brought us a list of names, I said, wow, if we could get Chris, kind of circled that. Ironically, I kept my notes from that meeting, and I'd circled Chris with a star by it and said, if we could get Chris, that'd be great. The challenge, obviously, was he had a job. He had a contract left on it with a really good organization, and so the Avs understandably didn't really want us to interfere in that. They could have just said no, period, and so I really appreciate them not doing that, but they didn't want us to interfere in the process. And so once they were out, things kind of sped up quickly in terms of our conversations. But now, listen, as I just said in the press conference, Chris knows a lot of hockey. His resume speaks for itself, but he's a great human being too. He's got, like I said, not only a great head, but a great heart, great family. I described him earlier as he's really comfortable in his own skin. He has the right kind of self-confidence, but balanced with humility. And I love that in a person.
He obviously was in a very good situation that he had in Colorado. You have they had a roster that can compete for the Stanley Cup for many, many years. So what was the pitch on your end that you gave to him that he looked at this situation and said, you know what, I can come in here. I got a giant ball of clay that I can mold into what I want. Yeah. But I feel like he also looked at it as the pieces were there. It wasn't a bare cupboard. So what was the pitch to get him to ultimately want to take this job?
So let's be honest. One of the things that helped is, he could come in here and be the general manager and president of hockey ops. He's got total keys to the car, if you will. He and Joe Sakic had a great relationship in Colorado, great working relationship. But, it was he and Joe together. And so I think he wanted the chance to come do that. To be part of leading an organization in that way. Secondly, I think he looked around and saw, hey, Nashville's, as we all know, it's not a great place to live. It's a great place to recruit to, and we've seen that with the ability to bring free agents here. He looked at our talent pipeline coming and all the draft capital we have and said, okay, this team's not there yet, but they're not bereft of talent. We can go get the folks that we need added to what we have now and be that kind of hockey team.
Does he, as president of hockey operations and general manager, have carte blanche from you to basically make the moves he feels is going to make this team better?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, here as the owner, you want to stay in your own lane. Now, that lane is not totally out. That doesn't mean sitting in the stands, because ultimately you're responsible, right? And ultimately, if things don't work well in 5 years, hey, I'll raise my hand. That's my fault. But you got to give a guy like Chris the keys to make those decisions. What I like in a leader is somebody who says, here's what I'm going to do. Give me any feedback you have on it. So if he says, I'm going to make an ABC trade, I'm not going to say, no, don't do that. I'm going to say, tell me why you're doing it, and walk through the logic to me. Chris, again, is comfortable enough in his own skin not to feel threatened by it, but just to say, hey, help me think through this logic.
Bill, I know you guys got your guy, but what was it like with the leadership group, ownership group? I got to think you guys grew very tight and close during this process.
Well, anytime you do a search, 2 or 3 things, it helps, right? I mean, as you all know, I'm fairly new to this, 3 or 4 years. I quadrupled my knowledge in this 4 months we've been doing this search, or 3.5 months, because you're just talking to so many people. And then we had a really good search group of, Sean Henry and Michelle Kennedy inside, Nick Saban, Chris Cigaran, David Colquitt from our owners group, as well as myself. And just the process of talking to people, there's no such thing as a bad interview. Even if you interview somebody and you go, oh, they're not they're not a person. Yeah. You learn something. There are 2 or 3 people we talked to earlier that thought, wow, really smart. I learned a lot. Not our person, but I'm really glad I had that conversation.
Yeah. What was of course, the question about Nick Saban?
Yeah.
I mean, he came in here last December, and it was a great everything what he's doing. But to see him in this process outside of a coach, how was that?
I mean, listen, Nick is everything that you think he'd be. I mean, he's not always warm and fuzzy,
Right.
as you can imagine. Those commercials, that make fun of him, telling the guests what to do. But he has great insight, great process, and he really, what I learned in this process, he really cares. This isn't just something he's mailing in. He really wanted us to find the right leader. And it also doesn't hurt, to be honest with you, when people know, oh, I'm going to get out and sit down and talk to Nick Saban.
Yeah, right.
That's, you ask kind of what got Chris interested. I mean, one of the things along the process is when he said, well, can I just talk to Nick about coaching? I said, yeah, call him.
Oh, that's good.
And
that's
so
good.
they had a conversation about just coaching, absent this job, absent anything. And I think they were like two little kids. They could have kept talking forever.
One more for me, and this has nothing to do with what's going on today. Your ability to remember people's first names. I work with Chase every day, and I forget his name half the time. Your ability to remember people's names and faces is amazing.
Well, don't every now and then it's like a blind hog finding an acorn, because they're just as many. I was just my wife would laugh if she heard, because I said, so and so, and this is like a good friend of ours.
Right.
I couldn't grab their names. So anyway, I have good moments and bad.
Oh, well done. Well done.
We're talking to Bill Haslam, owner of the Predators, after introducing Chris MacFarland. I like the discussion and kind of the real discussion of, all right, you're probably not going to win the Stanley Cup tomorrow.
Right.
You got to be realistic on that. But I go back to the building blocks that are there. So do you work on a timeline, or do you look at, hey, you get in here, you talk to the coaches, you evaluate the players, and then we're going to go step by step together on this?
Yeah. Listen, I think a mentor of mine told me this 30 years ago. I hadn't forgotten it. A leader's first job is to define reality, where we are. And I think all of us would say, are we going to compete for a Stanley Cup? What are we going to do this year? Probably not. Maybe might make the playoffs, but we weren't really going to compete for a Stanley Cup. And so I don't think we can put a time frame. Listen, I don't think if we're not competing for that in 4 or 5 years, I'm going to be disappointed. But I think it's hard to put a time frame on it, because you get some breaks in this, right?
Yeah.
A player drops to you in the draft, or somebody, something happens that can change that one way or the other.
It's not lost on me that one significant piece of this is the first time that someone is leaving hockey that is not named David Poyle or Barry Trotz, who helped build this thing.
Right.
How important is it to obviously preserve that legacy that they both built, but also know that you've gone outside to bring in new ideas to take this franchise to places it's never been?
It's actually a great question. And because everybody asked me that through the process, we're kind of famous for the Predators way. And they were like, are you really okay if we bring some new things in? And I said, of course, the leader I was looking for was somebody that appreciated all about our tradition here that's happened and made, Smashville such a cool place to be. That somebody that appreciated all that, but also somebody that realized, I'm going to do this my own way. And it was that's part of the reason we're doing all this, is I want a leader that says, I'm going to keep the great things, but I've got some new things I can bring and add. But you're right. Listen, David was an incredible leader, literally a Hall of Fame guy. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the leader of our Ring of Honor forever. And Barry is, Stanley Cup, et cetera. But it really helped to I think having somebody that's going to bring a little bit different background like Chris did is going to be a really good thing.
Were you amazed at the interest for this job?
I was blown away. I'm more than amazed. I was blown away by how many people are interested. If you think about it, Chris made a great comment. He said, hey, there's only 32 of these jobs. Okay.
Right.
So then you divide it down by that and think, there's only going to be in any given year, maybe 3 become available. Sure. So 10% of them. And then some of those are going to be places and jobs that you might not be all that interested in. So the interest level was a lot higher than I thought it'd be. But once I got into it, I realized hey, it's Nashville. It's one of only a few leadership opportunities. We should attract all that interest.
So today's a good day.
It's a real, here's what I've decided about life. You have really hard days. And when you have a good day, you should celebrate it. And this is a really good day.
Good.
Well, we appreciate it. My grandfather was in business and politics all the time and taught me to always call somebody by their highest office. So, Governor, thank you for doing this.
I appreciate that. That's gotten to be so long ago, I can just barely remember that part of my life.
Well, you're an NHL governor now.
There you go.
So
Hey, there you go.
That counts.
Which is a tad more fun. Can I add that?
Yeah, I can only imagine. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
And thanks for, listen, Smashville is a combination of a whole lot of people, and the what you all do in terms of helping us engender fan interest really is a key part of the deal. And, you become aware of that sitting in the seat I do. Like, our fans are incredibly passionate and loyal, and we've been okay lately, right? We haven't been what would make you just like screaming happy. And we get that. And again, folks like you doing this every day to keep the conversation going helps that to happen.
Well, yesterday, real quick before you go, we were overloaded on our phone lines, our text lines, the positivity from Preds fans. And I told Chase, if we had one or two people comment, it's like, oh, man, we had so many people weighing it in a positive way. The passion is there.
It really, and of course, we know it. We've seen it back in 17 and 18, et cetera. Yeah. So it's almost like it's this, this bubbling, pot, and the cap's on it now, but I think all of us are looking forward to the cap coming off.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We'll have more coming next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Wednesday. Hope you're having a great day so far. Appreciate Bill Haslam for joining us in the last segment, and good to catch up with the Predators majority owner and former governor. And there's a lot of transparency there, Joe.
It was, and good to talk to him. And he's such a nice guy. And to say,
You're a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
And the very end was like, this is a good day for the Nashville Predators. He's like, it's a very good day for the Predators. We got our guy. Now we move forward. And very open about, you need to win, right? You get a little grace period to figure things out, but you need to win. And so it's good to hear the boss talk about that, because all 12 was like, we'll do this and do that. It's like, no, the goal is to win. I was like, there we go. I like to hear that.
And I think that is all of their goals is, hey, we making the playoffs is great, but we want to have a team that we feel can compete to win the Stanley Cup. Now, it doesn't always happen. Colorado's been knocked out in the first and second round.
Yeah.
Other teams that have Stanley Cup contending rosters get knocked out early because the format's hard. It's not supposed to be easy. But going in to the season, you want to have a group like the Predators saw a few years ago, where they won went to the Stanley Cup final, won the President's Trophy of, hey, this is a team that can compete.
Through all this, who the gold star is for this? Nick Saban.
Yeah.
They all defaulted to him. They all talked about him. I think Adam had the question about, look, it's the South. What part did he play in all this? And they knew it. I mean, just Sean Henry said, he's asking questions that I was like, I wish I would ask that question. I mean, it's just a different perspective. You know why? Not a hockey guy, but a winner.
Yep.
Right? And so the common denominators and all that are about winning, or just the right people to get in here and get it done. And so, and I love the fact that he's not a hockey guy. And, he'll probably learn a few things here and there, but he's not going to tell you the third and fourth line at all. It's Nick Saban. And I thought really he's kind of the ace in the hole for all this.
So I told you I've kind of talked to people in
like who? Like dead people?
No, like
the movie?
Yeah, no, not. I don't see dead people.
All right,
but I texted Ryan Johansson, the former Predator, that also played in Colorado after he left here, and I said, "Hey, what do you think of Chris MacFarland?" He said, "One of the best humans in our game. He's the perfect guy to get us where we want to go." And that was Ryan Johansson.
Pretty good.
And I feel like I'm getting that from a lot of people.
Well, and the thing is, it's genuine, because if you would send me a note about somebody that I wasn't really fond of, I'm like, yeah, he's okay. I mean, or not respond back to you at all. But to respond like that quickly and talk and how good he is and the impact he had on him was really nice. And so it's a big day for the Preds. And like, this doesn't happen every year. This is the third time. Well, it's the second time they made a GM switch in 30 years.
Yeah. Right.
You had one that came in here from the beginning in
Foil. But also, and I know Barry left and he won a Stanley Cup with Washington, and then he worked with Lou Lamoriello in New York. And so he brought some new ideas back here too, but they were cut from the same cloth. It was basically the David Poile built Predators, and then Barry Trotz kind of kept that going.
Yeah.
And so now this is the first time that someone not connected to David Poile is going to be at the reins. And I don't mean that in a disparaging bad way by any means, because I have a ton of respect for David Poile, but I think it's a good thing in you're getting a complete outside view that has no connection to anything that happened here before. So they're going to come in without any preconceived notions.
Yeah.
And he's going to come in and he's going to do a true evaluation of, okay, do I think Andrew Brunette is the right coach for this team? Yes or no? Do I think that player XYZ, are a fit and can help us build towards the future? Yes or no? There's nothing that is holding him back from making any type of tough decisions. And look, to Barry's credit, Barry made a lot of changes that were opposite of what David had done. He got, he traded off some players. He traded off some prospects that he didn't think were fits. And so I'm not saying he didn't do that, but I just think this is a true reset and a new era for the team.
Oh, I completely agree with you on that. I had a good thought I was going to say. Now I don't have it anymore. For once, I had a good thought, good thing about this. Oh, I know what it was. McFarland. Look, you could tell he was torn, but between the decision of here and staying in Denver, I mean, you could tell there was a little consternation with him, which I think is good because it shows how well things are going in Colorado, how well he was liked, how well he had a foundation there. But look, you get in that position to be a GM and to run the show, and now he's come to Nashville. And I think, was it you that asked Governor Haslam, like, the carte blanche, right?
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, he's got it, which is good if you're GM. Look, I don't want anybody looking over my shoulder for every decision and move that I make. That's crazy. Then it kind of like then he'll go and do things where you don't find things out and you hide from people and all that. But the fact, like, it's overused phrase, but it is. I mean, you have the keys to the car now. Take us on the ride, and that ride needs to be to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. And look, I feel. And I got the sense, and he's obviously going to, and we're going to talk to him when he comes up here, but I got the sense in the press conference that he definitely thinks there's some pieces to work with here.
Right.
It's just, can those pieces build you there in the next 3 to 4 years? And, I asked Bill Haslam do you work on timelines? And how I should have worded the question of, in politics, you get 4 years. You have a timeline. You have to accomplish what you want to accomplish in 4 years. Now, you might get 8, but
it depends. I mean, Congress may get 2.
Well, for a governor, you get 4 years. With this, there really isn't a timeline.
Right.
But this, you also have been patient. The fan base has been patient. So you want to build this sooner rather than later.
Agreed.
And I do think that the way Barry has left, and I said this yesterday, I think Barry's tenure is going to look better and better years after the fact, because I do think the draft picks are going to work out. And if the draft picks work out, that's going to be on Barry.
Sure.
And you're leaving Chris MacFarland set up for success.
Absolutely you do. Yeah,
so,
and that's the thing is that, and God, expectations. Look, for me, it's like, all right, get a Stanley Cup final. If you don't get there, then the season's not a success. But sometimes that's defined differently for different people, what you want to get. Like, I think getting to the playoffs next year for the Nashville Predators is a success for a lot of people. I think the goal is to win championships in every sport, Super Bowl, NBA champion. I mean, that's the goal, right? The goal is like, hey, we made the playoffs 12s in a row. Look at us. After a while, it becomes,
how many Stanley Cups you got?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the – if you say, hey, we made the playoffs 10 years in a row and we won 2 cups, then you're feeling great.
It just shows you.
If you win 1 cup, you're feeling great.
It just shows you winning a championship in any sport is hard. I mean,
correct.
The Patriots winning all those, I mean, it's like they made it look so easy, and that's the problem, is that with Brady, and they made it look easy. You go back to the Islanders in the 80s and Edmonton and all those, they made it look easy, and it's not. And that's what you love or you want to get to.
615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You've heard from Chris MacFarland. What is your reaction, Preds fans, as he is now the, as I like to call it, shot caller for the Nashville Predators as the president of hockey operations and general manager? We always talk about winning the press conference and if that matters or whatnot. I'd say he won the press conference. Now it's what happens from here.
What are your right now expectations for 27 for the Preds right now?
I think you're going to see more evaluation than anything. He did say we're probably not going to trade a ton of our young guys. I think he wants to see what they got. So I think you're going to see some of the names you saw at the end of last season play a more prominent role this year, which would probably mean this isn't a playoff team. But it's a team in transition and a team of, you got to see if the young, like Brady Martin, for instance, I think Brady Martin's going to be a Nashville Predator next year, whether he's ready or not. I think, and they may have the option to send him to Milwaukee and could do that. But I think they're going to give him every opportunity to make the Preds roster and see what you have in him. And I think they should do that. And you're going to have some vets that are still here. We'll see if Ryan, I'm going to ask him about Ryan O'Reilly. Is that somebody that he feels you need to hang on to for at least this year to have that veteran leadership? Same goes for, Philip Forsberg, who was here, Roman Yossi. So I think they're going to be. I think they're probably going to be very similar to what they were towards the end of last year, but I think that is more of an evaluation for the new general manager to see, okay, what does the future look like? Are these some guys I can build from, or do I need to look at something else?
Well, I mean, they came so close to making the playoffs last year, so hopefully some of that can carry over, but you see how much do things really carry over from year to year. I'm not a big guy on the, they're going to remember this, remember that, because so much turnover. Now you got a new GM, new players coming in, and hopefully with the excitement, they could get in there and never know what can happen. I mean, that's the thing is that, for so long the Predators went to the playoffs and we kind of took it for granted. Then when they missed a year, well, they missed in 15, right? Was that the lockout year? Missed in 15.
They missed that year, and then they missed 2 years in a row.
14, 15?
Yeah, and that's when Barry left.
Okay. And then they rolled through. I know COVID was in 20. They made it in 21.
No, not 40. No, it was 12, 11. No, or was it 11, 12, and then 12, 13 when they missed, and then Peter came in 14, 15? Vingan's here.
Peter came in 15. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it gets
was
confusing. I used the last year. Like this past season was 26.
correct.
It's like you get confused with all that. So, and then the COVID they made, was it Phoenix that knocked them out, Arizona in the COVID year in 20, I think it was.
Yep.
21 was the restructured alignment. Carolina knocked them
Carolina.
out.
Yep.
22, no.
22, no, they almost made it. 23, yes. Brunette's first year.
Yeah.
They got in, and then the last 2 years now.
Oh, so I'm so confused. 24, they made it.
Okay,
24, they
here we
made
go.
it because Vancouver beat them
Adam.
in 24.
They missed 25, 26, they missed. 24, 25, they missed. Lost in the first round 23, 24 to Vancouver. Missed in 22, 23.
Yes.
And then they made it 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22.
Who beat them in 22?
That was Carolina.
Who beat them in 21?
Colorado. That was right. They got swept by Colorado, and then Carolina the year before.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So they've been to the playoffs.
They haven't been out. They haven't been out of the first round since
18?
17, 18.
Okay.
When they lost to Winnipeg in 7 games.
Yep.
So that's where things sit. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your reaction and much more here at Bridgestone Arena. Chase and Big Joe, 1025 The Game.
Hey, Chris, Gentry Estes from the Tennessee, and you mentioned the mushy middle, and that's a phrase we've heard a lot here with this team lately. You've talked a good bit about different ways to do this, but in your opinion, in order to break out of that, does it require being really bad before a team can be really good?
No, I don't think so. I think, like I said, there's different ways. You know, there are star players drafted at various points of the draft. I do think, you know, the draft is key though. You know, I think you can get, you know, really good players at the various parts of the first round. You know, in Colorado, we had ironically pick 10 and we're, you know, fortunate our scouts did an unreal job and Mikko Rantanen was, you know, added to the mix. And I mean, we all know how good he is. So you just got to keep building good player upon good player and putting them in good situations in your organization and the development of those guys. And then when there's an opportunity to strike, whether it's, you know, a trade or whatever, then you got to be ready to do it. I do think the focus for us in that area is going to be a certain age bracket, just being totally honest. I don't see us as looking to trade massive assets or young assets for a certain level age of player. I do think we got to be mindful of that. But I think there's lots of different ways to improve. And talking to the hockey guys here, like they signed Vitaly Pinchuk, right, a few weeks ago or a month ago or whatever that was. And, you know, if you can find a productive player, whether he's a third line center or a number 5 defenseman, and you do that without using draft capital or, you know, making having to use assets to make a trade, you just got better, right? So I think those are the things we're gonna talk about here, whether it's a college free agent or continuing to look in Europe. We'll continue to mine for gems that way as well.
I like that phrase, mine for gems. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Wednesday. We're at the BetMGM Lounge at Bridgestone Arena. As about a couple hours ago, I guess it's been now, Chris MacFarland was introduced as the president of hockey operations and general manager of the Predators, and continue to react to that. He is going to join us at some point here in the next couple hours. So we look forward to our first conversation of hopefully many with Chris MacFarland. Greg Wyshynski also scheduled to join at some point in the show as well.
How much front and center was he in Colorado?
Pretty good. I mean, Joe Sakic had the president of hockey operations title, but the last few years, I mean, MacFarland was out front. So he knows how to handle. I was impressed with how he handled a press conference.
Sure. I mean, it's something you don't do every single day. I mean, you don't get a new GM job every day. So I was just curious how much he did that in Colorado and talking to people and everything. And so, because that's now, I mean, you're the guy. You are the guy. I mean, I know you Sean Henry and Governor Haslam, and I mean, I know ownership and leadership group, but now MacFarland becomes the guy.
And he truly is.
Do you think he should have, like, him and Yossi and Forsberg? I mean, would he have a meeting with, like, some of the core guys?
Yes. Oh, I think so. I think he's going to meet with each player. And I know a lot of them are gone, but, you know, with Zoom and stuff like that, they can talk. But I think he's going to end up meeting with them. Sorry, I'm trying to do too much at one time. But I think, yes, I think it's important for him to meet with them.
I think it'd be good to meet with them as a collective. Like, what
Sure.
players are here, bring 4 or 5 in there, have a round table. I mean, you hear all the ideas, you know, what things are good, bad, debated back and forth. I just think that would be kind of cool to do that. It's the individual, what you're used to, the meetings. But anyway, it's his ship, it's his show, and he do whatever he wants to now. Is go forward and put a winning team on the ice. So July 1st is a very big day, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the draft before that, because, you know, you could see some.
But I'm not counting on those guys. I mean, I'm counting on.
No, but you're not. There could be movement of players. There's a lot of trades that take place at the draft.
All
so
right.
I think that could happen too. And look, Chris MacFarland has shown in Colorado he's not afraid to wheel and deal. So, I mean, he makes moves.
I like that.
So I think he's going to, because, I mean, look, he could look at this roster and go, you know what, they're just a couple of pieces. I want to see what these young guys got, but, there's a piece here or there that I think could fit. Let me go get it.
Was Onanen an Avs player?
Yeah. Yep. He traded Onanen here for Scott Wedgwood.
Like it.
So
I'm already liking it.
Yep. And he was, he talked about Onanen of that they were very high on him, but they needed more of a veteran goalie at the time, and so they acquired Wedgwood.
Okay.
So certainly interesting. Greg Wyshynski going to join us at 1:30. So we'll get his thoughts. Usually joins on Thursdays, but we wanted to do that today. We will have more coming from the BetMGM Lounge here at Bridgestone Arena. It's Chase and Big Joe on a Wednesday, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Wednesday. He's Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane Nick Frazier is here. And Brandon Bigsby back at the studio as well. At Bridgestone Arena today at BetMGM Sports Lounge, Chris MacFarland was introduced earlier today, president of hockey operations and general manager. He will join us a little later in the program, and looking forward to that. Greg Wyshynski at the bottom of the hour. And chances are, if you missed it at the beginning of the show, we'll replay our Bill Haslam interview at some point before we get out of here, because I know several people might have missed that at the beginning. But taking a little breather from what's going on with the Predators, I love when I read that Eagles players, there were some going, thank God this is all over.
Right?
Now that A.J. Brown has been traded to the Patriots.
No, it's funny, like during all that, everybody's silent. But once he's gone, it's like free to talk about. Like, thank God the drama's over with. We're not about all that. Now we can, there's one quote that's, now we could breathe.
Yeah, Jordan Mailata said, quote, I think this is more of a, it sounds terrible, but like, thank God it's over. It was a slow pain of just, is he in or is he out? We didn't really know, and that really wasn't our focus as a team, our team, especially on offense.
Exactly. So you get rid of the thing that's kind of holding you back and the problem, and once you're gone from that, you kind of move on. And so it's like the Eagles are like, all right, that's so good. New England, it's your problem now. And he's going to be a problem in New England too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just he was fine here. And then the contract came up, and then you heard he was going to be a distraction because you want a new deal, which is fine. I mean, he want more money. I get it. Then they trade him, and then it fell out of favor in Philadelphia. Reading the book on the sideline and all that went on, and now, see if Daddy can rehabilitate him up in New England.
I know Titans fans are going to hate me for this, but he went to 2 Super Bowls and won one with Philadelphia.
Right.
All right. That's what you ended up with him. If the Titans had shown a little more patience, because I think we talked to John Robinson, and John told us, months ago when he sat down with us of, you know what, if I could get a do-over on that one, I would probably like to take the do-over. Now, we all kind of feel like it came from Amy.
Sure.
That she didn't like some of the things she was hearing, and I get it, and didn't want to deal with that. And so they ultimately moved on because it was at the draft, and they knew that was the best opportunity to get something for him.
Yeah. And the fact that, and you look at the deal now, I mean, it's like, I know it was 4 years ago, but that deal was way – like the Falcons signed Drake London yesterday.
Yeah.
See that deal?
Like $150 million or
4 year, $141 million.
Yeah,
so
41.
you're investing in those guys, which is a whole other topic. We'll go into it another time about how you're going to start losing guys that play 2 ways in high school. Quarterback and receiver are now going to shift to wide receiver. You know why? Yeah. Look at the money wide receivers are making
compared to corners.
Compared to cornerback.
Yeah.
It is almost night and day.
In college and pro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, go back to A.J. Brown. So that deal would have been back then. It's like, what in the world? But you know what? There's a lot of time here. It's over with. It's done with. He's now on his second team since he's left here. Wish him the well. Make the Pro Bowl. That's fine. But if you're the Titans and you're a Titan fan, you should be happy what you got going on over at whatever that place is called now at the facility, because there's a lot of good trending going forward, a lot of good positivity you're hearing over there with the guys and everything. I think that's what your focus is on now. Let A.J. Brown go and do his thing. Wish him success, and but you worry about what's here in town.
Well, but my question though is, what if they had decided, you know what, we're going to pay him. He likes to get on social media. He likes to talk, and we don't love that, but we're just going to deal with it. What would that one move have looked like for the Titans?
I think they're a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't think you're chasing Will Levis, to try and get that. Obviously, Burks never comes into the picture.
Yep.
Or he could have, actually, because remember, a lot of mock drafts where the Titans were originally scheduled to pick had them taking Treylon Burks in addition to having A.J. Brown.
Yeah. I just think the team was in first place after that Green Bay win. I mean, then they went down the stretch.
They probably win the division that year.
Absolutely they do. And a lot of the core guys are back from 21.
Yep.
Derrick Henry's not injured. And I think the Titans team in 22, had they not traded A.J. Brown, would have No, I don't
I
say.
wonder if they would have considered, like a 2-year extension with Tannehill.
I think they've
'Cause-
gotten 22. I think they've gotten back to the championship game.
Yeah,
I really
mean,
do.
And so and look, again, what's done is done. It's revisionist history, but all the stuff that they supposedly wanted to get away from and didn't like here, Philadelphia put up with to a point where they didn't want to anymore.
Yeah.
But they made 2 Super Bowl appearances and got a win out of it.
Facts. Also,
And I'm not putting all of that on AJ, but he was
Yeah.
a key part of that.
well, also in 22, I remember somebody was like, well, in the locker room, it's, what happens, not a big deal. No. I remember being out there in training camp at 22. That's every question every player got asked was about A.J. Brown. It carried into the season. I mean, it carried everything. And then, the game when Robinson gets fired after that Eagles game, and then from that moment on, you're like, what in the world is going on? And that was a defining moment in Tennessee Titans franchise history that you do not want to go back to ever again. But it's a moment where everything changed. It changed a little when A.J. Brown got traded. It changed a lot when John Robinson got fired. Whether you want to believe that or not, it did, because you look what happened on the field after that. Awful. And they haven't been back since.
So just that, we love playing the what if game.
I do. Sometimes I dress up for that.
You do. I think it goes to show you that, look, you're going to have some players that, quite frankly, are just going to be an annoying, what's, a bleep. And I don't think he was a bad person by any means, but he was annoying. I mean, there were times where he needed to shut up and he didn't. And he'd get on social media and then he'd delete it and like all this stuff. And that's just how he acted. At the end of the day, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned like, okay, the Patriots are going to have to deal with that stuff too. Well, at least Vrabel knows what he's getting into.
Yes. Remember,
And AJ does have a ton of respect for Mike Vrabel. So you never know.
remember the Twitter thing about best receiver, and he brought Derek Mason into this, and Derek Mason's like, what did I do? why am I involved in this? And then,
Derek's like, yeah, you can be better than me, but you need to shut your mouth and go play ball.
yeah, right. It's the whole thing. And then he just didn't know how to do that, didn't want to do it. So, look, he'll be in his this is his 8th year. You've won a Super Bowl. You've been to 2 Super Bowls. Good for you, man. Keep it going. Win another with the Patriots. Wish you nothing but success. But if you're a Titans fan, I know it hurts. You talk about what happened like that because, like, we all went through that, whether you're a Titans fan or not. We all went through that. But it's let him go. Now you worry about what you got here, and here's pretty good for what they're going. And now move forward. By the way, the Titans preseason games have been announced.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be dead gum if the Tennessee Titans don't have a prime time preseason game at home versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, and that's the second game too. Now I know Robert Saleh did say expect to see the starters in all 3 games, which
Good.
that was refreshing to see. But
Heck yeah.
that second game against Seattle is probably a dress rehearsal game, and so
it's at the 49ers.
yep. And then the last 2 are here, so you'll get a 7:00 start on Sunday, Sunday night, August 23rd against Seattle on Fox. And then, which that will probably be, would that be Brady? Probably would.
I would think so.
Yeah. And then August 29th against the Bears at 5:00. So
Let's go. Be here before you know it, man. Prime time, though. That's good. They got a prime time game. It's a preseason game, but you'll take a prime time game versus the Seahawks. I remember for years it was like, the Titans were like, we're not going to play any preseason games on the West Coast. It's too much. Keep it local. Keep it regional. And now, the last couple of years, it's been traveling to the West Coast and taking on the Niners or somebody out there. And now they do it again this year, and the Seahawks come to town on for that game. So good for them.
it is looking like Chris MacFarland going to join us around 1:30. So
Greg Wyshynski too.
He's going to. We're moving that.
See you, Greg.
So
And that's the way it always happens. You plan a time, and then
this is why I just quit planning, because it
happens.
It happens
Right.
sometimes. But we'll continue the discussion and much more from the BetMGM Sports Lounge at Bridgestone Arena. That is all ahead here on 102.5 The Game. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Wednesday, BetMGM Lounge at Bridgestone Arena. We're going to be joined by Chris MacFarland coming up in about half hour, from what I understand. So looking forward, or 15 minutes potentially.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah, looking forward to that. We have a caller. Luke wants to weigh in on A.J. Brown. Luke, what you got?
If you had a draft today and AJ and Cardinal Tate were on there and you didn't have any future knowledge of what AJ is going to be, who would you pick, AJ or Cardinal Tate?
Ooh,
Great question. I'm taking A.J. Brown every time, all the time.
I think I would too.
Because you know the end result, or is that because you think that at his rookie year he was a better player?
I think A.J. Brown at Ole Miss. I think that's the guy that got me excited when they took him in the second round. And I mean, I'm excited about Tate too, but I think I'd lean AJ just because of the physical receiver he is.
Yep. I mean, he's a big, fast, strong, smart dude. AJ Brown is. I mean, he is that receiver. And I mean, Tate could be as, good one day as well. But I think if you go back and you break it down to the draft day, I just think the physical components of an A.J. Brown, of what he brings, is you don't see that. I mean, that size and speed, he's pretty dang smart too on the field. So I'd go A.J. Brown. But that's a great question.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Luke.
Appreciate you, Luke.
I mean, yeah, that is a good question. Because you're going Ole Miss A.J. Brown versus Ohio State Cardinal Tate.
Yeah, right. I mean,
now they're two different receivers.
Completely.
I mean, but the thing I loved about AJ, Teron Davenport always called him a yak monster. I mean, he basically, as soon as the ball hit his hands, he become a running back.
Yeah, turn it upfield and go, man. Just go and take off. And a yak monster is pretty good.
So, dang, yeah, that is a good question.
Well,
I like that.
It is. And also, not to switch things, but big day for the Predators, and people are asking, well, Nick Saban was a big part of this hiring on the interview process, and people are like, well, why is he not here today? And Chase, the reason he's not here is
he was testifying before Congress today, talking about NIL and the collectives. He said he asked Congress to bring order via college sports bill. He said Congress does not need to micromanage college athletics. Congress does need to fix the mess in the courts and create a national framework so the people inside college sports can enforce fair rules. Without that legal certainty, every rule becomes another lawsuit. Every standard becomes another risk, and the system keeps drifting towards a professional model. He testified in support of the Protect College Sports Act, along with Notre Dame Athletics Director Pete Bevacqua, Pac-12 Commissioner Teresa Gold, West Virginia President Gordon Gee, and Utah defensive end Lance Holsclaw. While Holsclaw provided a player's perspective on agents, the portal, and coaching changes, the athletic leaders spoke with a sense of urgency and warned of dire consequences, like more Olympic sports being cut if federal legislation isn't passed soon.
Love Coach Saban. I think he's brilliant, but the government needs to stay far away from college sports.
I don't disagree, but if college sports, are the NCAA namely, aren't going to figure this out on their own, and they're not, then somebody's got to do it.
Not the government. Government needs to stay far away.
Well, then who's going to do it?
Somebody's going to find an entity that will get the NCAA and give them some more, give them subpoena power and redo that whole organization. The government needs to stay out of it. They will ruin it. They don't do anything well when it comes to this. Stay out of it.
But I would think you would like the rules that have been proposed, and that are limiting athletes to transferring schools only one time without penalty, limiting athlete eligibility to a maximum of 5 years, prohibiting former professional athletes from playing in college, prohibiting schools from poaching a coach from another school during their sports season, called the Lane Kiffin rule. Saban said the bill isn't perfect, and I'm sure many, many adjustments need to be made, but he still supports it.
I like most of that. I don't think if you want to transfer 5 times, transfer 5 times, right?
Okay.
Apply that to the job world.
True.
Yeah, if you want to go, I mean, you don't make you stay at one job. If you want to transfer, transfer.
I don't think that part will pass. I think you'll be able to have unlimited transfer.
Sure. I like the no poaching.
Yep.
I really like that. And I'm a strong advocate. You have 5 years to play for. That's it. Once you leave high school, it's always been, what is it, military exemption, religious exemption. There might be one more exemption that you get there as well. But I think you have 5 years to play for. Once you go to school, your meter starts running. You can't be 7, 8 years playing. That is absolutely asinine. Get out. Get in the real world and go. You know, people were like, well, Pavia needs to get out. Pavia's first year was 21.
Yeah.
So Pavia played 5 years, 5 to 4. So he got that extra exemption because of college. That's fine. He wasn't out there for 9 years. So these guys were out there 6. Look, I get a medical red shirt. I play with a guy who blew his knee out many times and got the medical red shirt. That's fine. That gives you an extra. But that is an extreme case that you get to have that. You just don't granted that. Half the guys that apply for medical red shirts don't get them. It might be more than that.
So you don't like, I mean, because it sounds like it's 5 to play 5.
Hate it. Absolutely hate it. 5,
Even
freshman,
though,
sophomore, junior, senior.
But
Boom.
even though you know that you probably wouldn't play your freshman year, you'd be on the team.
Okay, they get redshirted.
Okay, well, I think it sounds like they're just getting rid of red shirts.
Yeah, fine. Do that. And that's the problem. I mean, it's got to be concrete across the board. Everybody's got to approve on it and be on the same page. I just don't think it ever will be. And so now you got all this, and you're wanting the government to get Congress to get involved. I mean, come on.
Well,
man.
here's something else Saban said, and I do like this. I don't think this is bipartisan. I think it should be nonpartisan. It's that important in terms of college athletics, in terms of the future for young people. It protects athletes. It protects opportunity. It protects competitive balance. It protects the sports that do not always generate revenue but still matter. It gives college athletes a chance to move forward with rules that are clear, national, and enforceable. For these reasons, I support the College Sports Act and urge Congress to act.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, who's better advocate for trying to redo college sports than Nick Saban? I mean, and that's the thing is that you get a good, strong voice up there. I laugh because Gordon Gee's on that committee, which makes me laugh. Former Vanderbilt president. It just gets so muddled down with everybody putting their stuff in there. I don't think there's an easy answer or there's a quick answer or there's a soon answer for all this.
Let's go to Clay, who has called in. Clay, what's up?
Boys, how are we doing today?
We're doing good.
I was going to comment on it, what y'all are talking about. You know, as a lifelong Vanderbilt fan, with the transferring and all that, the thing I missed the most, of course, I miss going to games, but, you know, back in the day was the relationship, you know, that I was able to build up. I mean, there's several former players that I could tell you that I still talk to, and that's what I miss the most. And I'm all for them. Do y'all think the one transfer thing would maybe pass? No?
I don't think so, because I think the genie's out of the bottle. Because what you're going to have happen is even if Congress tries to, you know, if Congress passes it, you're still you can go back on that. They missed the boat. They should have done that in all of this and said, hey, you're going to get one without penalty or whatever. And I think they missed the boat.
Yeah, I mean, I can name you two players, you know, that played 1 year at Vandy, Ben Allen Lubin and Mr. Carey, that are going to play, you know, 4 schools in 4 years. So.
Well, I mean, that happens. Look, there were some great Vanderbilt players. What is McIntyre? He transferred out when his dad got let go in '85. He went to, I think Georgia Tech. There was a young man that played at Vanderbilt in the late '80s. He transferred to Alabama, won a national championship with Alabama. He thought he could win. I forget the young man's name. He was from Memphis. But those are great one-time transfers. So if you go there and you don't like where you are, I don't think you could be. So what's your option? If Clay transfers from Vanderbilt to MTSU, and you don't like MTSU, are you done? Maybe the coach doesn't like you. I mean, I just think that's unfair for a kid if you want to go someplace else.
I agree. I mean, I think
go.
I think you shouldn't. I think I agree. You could transfer as many times as you want because the age-old argument is the coach can leave as many times as he wants. So,
right. And Clay, we applied that to a job in the real world. I mean, if you won't, I know friends who've had 8 jobs in 5 years. They had to find a job to make that they were happy with. That's fine. We should not restrict young men and women from doing that. From like, all right, you got to stick there. You made a bad decision. Tough. You stay there. No, man, you should be able to do what you want to do like that.
What about, do you think they would ever, maybe this wouldn't work, but do you think they'd ever put a cap on the money? Or
I
how
think
much a kid can make? 'Cause
I think that's coming. I mean, I think they're going to have to do that, but then that's going to have to be collectively bargained.
Yeah. So there's a lot of lawyers who are probably like, we want to be part of this.
Yeah,
This deal, what's going to happen?
I think in Saban's mind and others' minds, they're going to Congress to prevent this from becoming a pro sport and having a union and having a CBA and all that. But I don't think they're going to be able to prevent it completely.
Yep.
by the way, Big Joe, on
Yes,
my
sir.
little donation,
Thank you.
$60 to the cause, I've gotten emails from them, and who knows, I might even send them more.
Thank you. Folds of Honor. Folds of Honor, the golf tournament last week that we were mighty proud to be part of. Thank you. I told you any amount of donation it was perfect. So thank you, Clay, for helping out Folds of Honor.
That was to make up for the missed donut assignment.
No, we're not forgiving you from that. Because you could donate the donut proceeds to Folds of Honor. We'll be happy with that.
See you, boys. Have a good day.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Coming up next, I believe here momentarily, new Predators general manager and president of hockey operations, Chris MacFarland, is going to join us. So we look forward to that. Coming up next, Chasing Big Joe, 105 The Game. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Wednesday, live at the BetMGM Sports Lounge at Bridgestone Arena. As Chris MacFarland was introduced earlier today, President of Hockey Operations and General Manager of the Nashville Predators. He is scheduled to join us momentarily. He had the press conference, and then I think he was having a lunch with the ownership group and just doing a lot of different things on what is his first official day, I guess, in Smashville. And so a lot on his plate, a lot to do, and not a long time to do it. So
I love the fact on our stream you could see the MacFarland.
yeah, I kind of did that on purpose.
Nice. It's like we're doing an interview with him. So yeah, we'll talk to him in just a little bit there to all that.
What I mean, he answered a lot of stuff today, and then there's a lot of stuff that he doesn't have an answer for yet. But what are some things you're kind of looking forward to getting to know about him?
Why this job? What stood out? I mean, there's 30 other jobs. I mean, he was at one in Colorado, and this one there's basically 31 other. What do you like about this? I mean, what was it like? You know, there was a thing with Governor Hasselbeck talking about, said that he just wanted to talk coaching with Nick Saban, right?
Yeah,
I mean, so
that's cool.
Just kind of things, but just I think I'm always curious. Why do you want to be here?
Right.
What is your motivation to be here? Why do you want to be here? Why did this stand out to you? And we'll ask him just a little bit.
I think he, not putting words in his mouth, but like,
Please don't.
it almost feels like he looked at this as a blank canvas where he could paint it on his own, and not many people get that opportunity with, such a great job and great franchise like this one is.
Right. You're right.
And so I think, he could have stayed in Colorado, and who knows how many cups, he could win.
But he's not the guy.
Right.
Here you
now
come,
you're the
guy. Right. You're not that guy, pal. But now you're the guy here.
Like I call him the shot caller. I mean, that's what he is.
Is that what you do?
He's calling the shots.
Shot caller. I like it.
Yeah. Big baller
Good
shot
nickname.
caller.
Folks, this is what you call a holding pattern in the business.
We're in a four-corner stall.
Yeah, hold on a second now.
Yeah, but
I thought George Plaster asked a very, very good question.
the time, like when did this all come about?
We love timelines. Like,
Yep.
how did they approach you? Did you approach them? What happened? The original list, from the search engine, the search
Google.com.
the search committee they hired, and there was some problem, and Governor Haslam talked about it with the players union or whatever it was, and then had to go and kind of redo things, kind of reboot and do things differently. But MacFarland was always there, was always like that guy. And so I think he was, according to the words and the body language, I think he was their guy from the beginning.
I feel like you would say, if you were doing this, you'd be like, hey, Gemini, who should I hire as general manager? Ask AI.
That is so rude.
But right?
I'd ask Grok. Isn't Grok the Twitter? Well, I got hacked, so it doesn't matter.
Fuzzy Bear.
I'd ask Fussy Bear what
Fussy
he would
Bear.
think. Still hacked.
Would you ask Grok or Gronk?
I'd ask. I wouldn't ask Gronk much because I don't think he knows a lot. He knows how to win, though. Maybe I would ask Gronk.
So your Twitter, you still can't change anything?
No, I can't.
But you can send tweets.
I can send tweets. I'm Fuzzy Bear. Fussy Bear.
Fussy Bear.
Yeah, somebody hacked my Twitter account. And I did this rant yesterday, folks. Have two-factor authorizations on everything you do because they tried to hack everything that I had, but two-factor saved my tail. So Big Joe's PSA is have two-factor. The one thing I did not have two-factor on, and you can guess,
Twitter.
Twitter account. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they figured that out.
I do like the name Fussy Bear. It's kind of like,
the avatar is hilarious.
I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is. So it's not. Look, as we tell you, social media is not real life, and I've spent less and less time on Twitter and X as it goes on, so it didn't really bother me at all.
Yeah, it's Twitter. It's not as fun as it used to be.
It's not. I mean, you log on there, and it's just argue, left, right, left, right, and I'm like,
I hate you.
I'm tired of this. I mean, if you do any good, whatever, you're still stupid. I mean, it's like, all right, I'm done with that.
Yeah. So again, in a bit of a holding pattern, as Chris MacFarland had a lot of people to meet, but he is going to come on with us and join us here in a few minutes. And I probably have 20 questions to ask that I won't be able to, but
you can. I got 20 that probably have nothing to do with hockey. That's what makes this work. I'm not. You're the expert. I'm the fan.
That's why we're the people show.
That's why we're the people show. You're the expert. I'm the fan. That's all it is. And I don't. I mean, I'd like. Do you go back to Colorado? Do you pack up the house? Does the wife do that? I mean, are you here now? I mean,
I think he
here. Sounds like he's a hands-on guy. Like he'd like to be a part of everything. And then it was very nice him talk about his family and his wife, how they've been along the journey with him and how it's been important, and they supported him and been with him the whole time. I thought that was really cool to hear that.
Do we think that Barry Trotz today, the alarm went off and he's like, "Yeah, I'm good," rolled back over?
Isn't he at the combine?
He might be. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, he's at the combine.
Yeah.
I mean, look, keep Barry around as an advisor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Barry Trotz won a Stanley Cup as a coach.
I know.
Right? So, I mean,
We love Barry.
He's still got a lot of cachet and value in so many things. So, and then McFarland talked about him and Barry are really good friends.
Yeah.
So why not have that as an insight, as an ear to lean on and talk to him and everything? I think it's great. And you'll see the relationship and they have. And then, of course, Barry's such an integral part of this franchise.
I think Barry will be a very important resource for Chris.
Right.
He knows the ins and outs. I mean, David's around too, but I think, look, it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing, but at the same time, I think having people that have been here and can tell you some things is beneficial.
We spoke earlier about last night. I got home from an event. I was at a Mount Juliet, and I watched the third, in honor of you, Chase. I watched the third period of the Stanley Cup final last night. And I'm telling you, even if you're just a little bit of a hockey fan, watch it in Vegas. And I said earlier, I thought Vegas had 12 guys on the ice.
Yeah.
They were just there was one part where the puck was getting down the ice. It was going to be icing, and the Carolina guy got it, and this Vegas player coming over and just smashed him into the wall. I'm like, that's what I like. I mean, that is such good to watch. And then Vegas just took over last night and won a game. Great game. If they do half that passion and enthusiasm tomorrow night for game 2, it's a must watch.
Vegas won 5-4, and Carolina scored like right off the jump on their first shot of the game. And you thought when you saw that, like, oh boy, here we go. But Vegas able to battle back.
Well, then it became 2-0.
Yeah, it was 2-0. Then Nikolai Ehlers, doing his thing. I mean, it's going to be a fun series. Like if game 1 was any indication, this one's going 7.
I did watch the pregame a little bit. It was so loud in there you couldn't hear Steve Levy and those guys. I mean, that's professional audio, microphones. You could not hear the pregame because the crowd was so loud. And that's what we absolutely love.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we will step away again. Waiting on Chris MacFarland, supposed to be joined by him shortly. And we look forward to that. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. 5 the game at the BetMGM Sports Lounge at Bridgestone Arena. Going to be joined momentarily by Chris MacFarland, President of Hockey Operations and GM of the Nashville Predators. He's obviously got a busy day, so we're appreciative.
Are we even on his schedule?
We're on the schedule.
Okay.
He'll be here, but we're appreciative of his time for sure. But as he gets acclimated, I thought it was interesting. He talked about in the press conference that the hockey ops offices in Colorado are very small, and he's excited to have more room to work with the staff here.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm sure they told him, like, well, we're renovating, so
Yeah,
it's going to change.
Get used to the hammer and nailing going for the next couple of years. But it's a good thing, though. It's a good thing. And we're excited to talk to him when he gets up here in just a little bit.
Yeah, so what else is new with you?
Oh, man, just CMA Fest. I'm performing on the Bud Light O'Doul stage
nice.
Thursday at 4. Can't wait for that. So got my
doing some stand-up? Or?
No, it's a banjo.
Oh,
banjo. What's
banjo?
That? Dulcimer. Yeah, I got my
the
dulcimer band. There we go.
There you go.
They're gonna. It's what's crazy walking down here today to this event. It feels like mid-April. I mean, it feels wonderful outside today. There's no humidity really, and it's beautiful outside and everything. I was like, what's the last time we had a CMA Fan Fest where it wasn't 1,000 degrees for all that? And Chase, I'm glad for Fan Fest you brought out your fanny pack again. That's a staple every year when you go down and see the band. So I know you're excited for the CMA Nissan Stadium concerts every night. I know you're a big fan of that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going this year.
Every time Ella Langley sings a song, I got to hand you Kleenex. You're like, oh,
Nick
man.
and I both just kind of lose it.
Yep, that's fine. You're Ella's fellas. I get all that. You get to do all that. What's going on down there?
I know you're just excited to go and see the Oak Ridge Boys. So
love the Oak Ridge Boys and John Conley.
Yeah,
T. Graham Brown's doing this sit down interview with John Conley. Love T. Graham Brown.
Yeah, he's the best.
Do you know? Did your
I know
dad?
his son.
Okay, yeah.
His son worked for Dad.
Okay, all right.
And actually married one of my friends from high school.
They really?
Yeah.
All right. T. Graham Brown married one of your friends from high school?
No,
his son.
His son.
I told you I did a morning thing with him on TV years ago, and he called me Ralph the whole time. He's like, "Hey, Ralph." I was like, "Oh man,
you do kind of look like a Ralph."
Yeah, Ralph Emery. That's what you thought it was because it was morning TV, and so he had just the best time. But I don't know. It's just. I don't know. It's cool. The destination for Nashville this week. It's funny. People are like, stay away from downtown. Everybody that I know, friends, Nashvillians, don't come down here anyway.
No.
Except it's for a concert or for a Preds game. So that's no big deal. When I did the thing with Jill last week about the Super Bowl coming here in 2030, she's like, what's your concerns about traffic and for everything? I was like, I don't have any.
Yeah.
Because it's all going to be here.
Right.
And we don't come down here. We go see our friends at the Omni once a week, but it's like we come down here. Traffic for the Super Bowl is not going to bother you in Bellevue. It's not going to bother me in Donaldson. You know why? Because it's
That look, he's got the keys. Now I want to know what he's doing. I'm not going to be the owner that says, no, you can't do that, but I want to understand what he's thinking and him to walk me through it. But he's got carte blanche to do what he thinks is best for the team.
Yeah, so that makes total sense then, because I feel like independence is the only reason you're taking this job, right? Because otherwise you built a team that won a President's Trophy and unfortunately hit a bunch of injury skids in the conference final, with McCarr missing the first 2 games, McKinnon getting hurt in game 3, and a bunch of guys being out of the lineup, or else maybe Colorado's playing for the Cup right now. Like, he helped build that team. They're still going to be a contender next year. And now he's coming to take over a team that is either in the mushy middle or on the precipice of maybe a rebuild, right? So I'm really intrigued to understand better, like, the dynamic there, because I have to imagine it's because, you know, he wasn't able to be as independent as we all thought he was when he got named general manager.
I feel like, and obviously I'm in it. I work for the radio network. Like, I'm around this all the time, but I feel like the perception around the league is the Predators are one of the best organizations in the National Hockey League. Is that what you see? And is that why somebody like Chris would leave the Avs for an opportunity like this?
So there's a lot of ways to approach that question. Like, I think there's a lot of respect for Sean Henry, including from me, for being, you know, a really great person to have at the top of your organization. Obviously, it's really hard to get a gauge of what everybody thinks of the Predators after, you know, a recent ownership change. You know, that who knows what direction that goes in. One assumes it'll be in a positive one. But I mean, most of the positive vibes that surround Nashville surround the fact that there's just a massive fan base around the team that's been built, a culture and a community around the team that's been built, and the fact that it's a desirable location financially and geographically for people to want to live and play. So, you know, there's definitely a notion of, like, if you're asking if Chris MacFarland took over a team that's a desirous position to take, I definitely think it is. You know, I think the only downside is you're going to have to sort of figure out what to do with this team over the next, like, 2 to 3 years to get it to the cup contender that Bill Haslam and Chris MacFarland want it to be.
Well, and that's the question I had too, Greg. It's like, why now? Why here? You had a good thing in Colorado. Why the jump now? Could you have waited a year? He had another year on his contract. Bill Haslam told us that he had another year on his contract. I was just curious, like, what was it about this Predator organization that made you want to come here now? Not a year from now, but now.
And I got to imagine it's president of hockey operations. Like, I mean, if you want to look at the Avalanche, and if you want to take Chris at his word, and I've talked to him before, I like the guy a lot, by the way. I think you should mention that. Then it was a collaboration between himself and Joe Sakic. And if you're looking to be the guy, you're not going to be the guy in Colorado until Joe decides to retire, right? I mean, like, Joe's probably got that job in perpetuity. So there was a ceiling he was bumping up against, and you know, it may be a situation, and I think Bill or Sean might have mentioned this in their press conference. It may not have even been a situation where he's looking to leave. It may be a situation where they go and reach out for him, present him with this opportunity. Maybe he gets a look at a landscape that he wasn't familiar with and decides, I'm not getting that here, because I don't think he was in Colorado, because I think Joe Sakic is probably above him on the food chain in perpetuity.
Yeah, and it was, you know, during the press conference, Chris MacFarland got quite emotional talking about Joe Sakic and Colorado and everything, and you can just tell that he's got a big part of his heart is still there, but this opportunity was too good to pass up, and now he's here. Let me ask you this: what do you think you've dealt with this before, Greg, talking to GMs and new places coming to Nashville? What do you think is his first order of business?
Well, there's a few veterans on the roster with large contracts that I think that Chris may want to take a look at and figure out what to do with in the coming weeks. But, you know, obviously his first order of business is the phone call he's going to have with Andrew Brunette this week to really get a lay of the land and really understand, you know, what it is going on, as he said, under the hood with this team. You know, the fact that he knows Bruno a bit from their scouting days, I think, is a benefit to the coach. And again, like, when you make a major change at the top like this is, usually the guy at the top is going to bring in his own guy, but it's not necessarily right away.
Right.
It may be a situation where, first of all, he doesn't want a major tectonic shift under the feet of all these players to happen before next season. And then second of all, if we're being honest, I mean, firing a coach is a bullet in the chamber, for lack of a better metaphor, for a general manager. And you don't necessarily want to waste that if you've got somebody in place that you think is a pretty good coach anyway. You may not be the right one. You may not ultimately be the guy that's going to be there, but you certainly don't want to like plant your flag on somebody and then have them not work out as one of your first major moves as GM.
I thought, Greg, the Barry Trotz and John Hines thing dragged out way too long. Is he going to be here, not be here? Would you prefer, if it's McFarland, quicker than later, and say, all right, Brunette is my guy, or like, look, I love him, it's time to move on? Would you like to have that conversation now instead of 2 weeks from now?
He doesn't even have to say he's his guy. He just has to say he's our coach next year. And for the reasons I just spelled out, there's there was improvement during the season, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to make major changes just for the sake of making changes, blah, blah, blah. There's a way to frame this that's not necessarily hitching your wagon to Bruno if he doesn't work out next season. But I think that you can sell it as, here's a guy who's under contract. There's no reason to necessarily make a change for change's sake and go forward with that. I mean, to me, it's like you fire a coach because you need to either change the fortunes of the team and or sell it to your fan base. And with McFarland coming in with the pedigree that he has with the Avalanche, you already have the ability to sell hope without having to fire the coach. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Greg Wyshynski is with us, presented by Old National Bank. Get old. And along those lines, I mean, I think we can agree that the roster picture is not clear right now. Based on the contracts that you mentioned, he's got to evaluate the younger players and see, okay, hey, are these the right players and what I'm looking for? Guys that Barry Trotz brought in, he left him with a ton of draft picks and draft capital that he can use. So, and I know pro sports aren't fair, but is it fair to do a true evaluation of the coach when the roster picture is not clear?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing too, is like, you don't even know what you've got on your hands yet until, he was talking about maybe not even until the fall, understanding what the prospect pool looks like and understanding what the team looks like. By the way, the most unintentionally hilarious moment of that press conference was when he was talking about, someone brought up, how do you acquire high-end talent? Maybe it might have been you, Chase. Like, how do you acquire high-end talent?
Yeah.
And he's talking about how you do it through the draft, and Nathan McKinnon's name comes up, and McFarland literally says, I wish we could have him here. And I'm like, oh, great. His first move is getting a tampering charge.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it looks like he is he has walked up here, so we're about to meet him for the first time. Greg, appreciate it today, and we'll talk to you next week.
Well, send him my regards, and it's an exciting day. I think Chris is a really talented executive and a surprising choice and a great choice, I think, to lead this team.
I will pass that along. Thank you, my friend.
Take care.
Chris MacFarland joins us next. 102.5 The Game. Hour number 3, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Wednesday. We have been at the BetMGM Sports Lounge at Bridgestone Arena celebrating Chris MacFarland, who has been hired as the president of hockey operations and general manager of the Nashville Predators. And he joins us now here on the program for the very first time. Chris, welcome to Smashville. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Chase and Big Joe, thanks for having me. Looking forward to getting to know you guys.
Absolutely. You kind of talked about it in the press conference, but you were obviously in a very good situation in Colorado with a team that is built to win Stanley Cups. You guys won it a few years ago. What was it about this opportunity, though, that was so intriguing for you that you would leave that and come here?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and it was a really, really hard decision, for me and my family. First of all, flattered that any team in the NHL would want to talk to you, and obviously the president and GM opportunity, those don't go on trees. I think there's 32 GM jobs, and I'm very blessed and very fortunate to work in this league, which I think is the best league in the world. But when you factor in this city, Mr. Haslam, the strong history here, I know from coming in here as a visiting team, starting with my days in Columbus and obviously Colorado being in the Central Division, it was always a place that not only do the players look forward to coming to, I think staffs look forward to coming to here. There's a great buzz in the building. It's a phenomenal city that me and my family are looking forward to getting to know a lot better.
I had the opportunity to work with Preds Radio and do the pre-post for away games, and so I obviously saw every game that this team played.
Yeah.
This year, there was a lot of fight, especially towards the end of the year, and I think a lot of that came from the head coach. Andrew Brunette
I do.
well,
Yep.
And I know you have to have meetings and a process, but what have you seen from the 10,000-foot view that make you think, hey, this is a good coach that has worked with this roster and these young players that can help push it forward?
Yeah, I've known Brew. Brew's been in the game a long time, as a player, in management, and I think, obviously as the head coach here. My good friend Joe Sakic, obviously, knows Brew, for a long time as well. So I think for me, whether it's coaching, equipment, medical, food, travel, I feel I know the team, I know the players, but you don't know everything as well as until you get in here and poke around under the hood. So I'm going to chat with Brew and Derek and Luke as well, and sort of siphon through things here in the days and weeks ahead. But definitely look forward to those calls.
He scored the first goal in Predators history.
I think I did know that actually, but I'm sure he'll let me know that too. Yeah.
Is it sports are not fair always, but when you look at the roster, and I think we can agree that the picture is not complete right now. You have some veterans with big contracts you probably are going to want to look at and evaluate. You have young players that you haven't seen in the system that you need to evaluate. So can you do a true coaching staff evaluation knowing that the roster picture isn't complete yet?
Yeah, I think that's a really fair question. Obviously I'm going to rely heavily on some internal people here that certainly know things intimately better than I do, right? I think it would be really dangerous and borderline foolish for me to come in here and make rash decisions, whether it's on something as important as coaching or a certain player or prospect development and all that good stuff. So I'm going to take my time. I think I've got like I said, I've got a lot of good people here. I don't ever want to be the guy that when you work long enough, you're always you could be in those situations. I don't want to be the guy that throws the baby out with the bathwater. There's some really, really good people here that I need to get to know better, and including the coaching staff.
Chris MacFarland's with us on the Chase and Big Joe show. Why Nashville?
Big Joe, I think that's an easy one. I think Nashville is a destination spot. I think it's for players, for visiting teams when they come in here. I know it's a place that's circled on the map. Obviously, the city, I think, speaks for itself. It's lively. It's a destination spot, whether you're coming here, for the music, for the entertainment, and great sports town, and hopefully the hockey too. But For me and my family, there's a component where, it's closer to home for both me and my wife. It would have taken a hell of a lot, to get us to even think about leaving Colorado. They were incredibly good to us. I'm very fortunate. I know that, my career has benefited by, the move that I made to Colorado in immense ways. So I'm super thankful to the Cronkies, to Joe Sakic, to the players and coaches, and really excited about this new chapter, both on and off the ice. We're just walking around here. There's just an energy that you feel. It's palpable. I think, I said it, that fang fingers thing, that drives me.
You get used to it.
I don't know. Yeah. Everyone keeps saying that. I don't know. That might take a bit, but the rest of it is, we can't wait, for this new chapter.
Yeah. You walk into the meeting with the leadership group, the ownership group, and there's Bill Haslam, who we love, and there's Sean Henry, who's won a Stanley Cup as an executive.
Yep.
And then there's Nick Saban.
Right.
What was that like? Because in the South, Nick Saban, the coach, what was that like when you're like, oh, there's Nick Saban? What was that like for you?
Well, first thing is that he's got that deep voice where he's like, hello, Chris, and it's really like, oh my God, I'm talking to Nick Saban, one of the best to ever do it, and super excited, because for the obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
Like sports, whether it's, talking about hockey X's and O's or football X's and O's, which I look forward to doing with him because I'm a football fan too, but he can offer so much to me. He can offer so much to insight on, to our coaching staff, to Milwaukee, to our young coaching development. There's, challenges that we're going to face in hockey that he would have faced in football, development of young players and roster things. And I can lean on him, for ways that we have to get better off the ice, whether it's in the strength and conditioning room or, whatever. He's going to be a massive resource for me, and super excited to get to know him better.
When you made the final decision, you were very emotional about your family, which was great. I understand that.
Yep.
When you talked to your wife about this is the place, what was that like? Was it like, this is where we need to be? This is where we need to go?
Well, I don't want to get emotional again. I was a blubbering fool there for a little bit, but she's very important in what I do. She's, been there every step of the way. I think, for us, we have our oldest is just to the north here. So I think, getting a little closer to there, and we're fortunate enough that both of our parents are still alive. So it's mine are in the East Coast, hers are in the Central. And I think that was important. But like I said, she would have gone anywhere. We would have been thrilled to stay in Colorado, to be honest too. But when you at this stage, of our lives, and to get us to move, I think there were certain hallmarks that rang out here, and we're just super excited.
Good,
but she had to be a part of that for sure.
Chris MacFarland is with us on Chasing Big Joe. You also mentioned and got a little emotional during the press conference of your relationship with the players in Colorado and how much I think you used the words "love them." You don't have that here yet. I know you will, but does that help to an extent coming into a new situation where there is no bias and you can do a true evaluation of what you have or don't have?
Yeah, I totally get your point. Like I want all of our players, whether they're on the big roster or Milwaukee or in junior, I want them to have success. I feel like it's our responsibility through coaching, management, ownership, our development team, to find ways to maximize players and get the best out of them. Just, it's an honor to play in the National Hockey League. Our young guys want to get there. They have a responsibility as well to do certain things, but I want them to have success. I want to have that connection with them. I want the leadership group here to get to trust me, and trust isn't given. It has to be earned, both ways. And, I look forward to, forging those relationships with them as well. And I'm going to want this to be a partnership, and with partnership and becomes responsibility. Right. So, like I said, the one big thing here is that players want to be here. I don't have to spend 1 second of time worrying about whether a free agent wants to come here, or a Preds player is going to want to stay here. I'm pretty confident that answer is going to be yes with an exclamation point.
Did you and Ryan O'Reilly overlap in Colorado?
When I started there, he was traded about 10 days later. So I know Ryan as a player. Obviously, he's a rock star, two-way, trusted player, and look forward to getting to know him. I had a brief chat with him yesterday.
He's been one of those guys since he signed here that has certainly been a leader in the locker room.
Yep.
And because of that, Barry kind of had a handshake with him of, I'm not going to move you, out of respect unless we're absolutely blown away. Is that something you have to address with Ryan, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, I'll probably leave those conversations private, to be honest. Not that I don't trust you guys, or
you're already smart,
or your big audience, but I will. I'm going to reach out to not only Ryan, but Philip Forsberg and Brady Shea and Marchessault and Steven Stamkos, and you want your leaders to lead, but I think at the end of the day, players, all of them, whether they're veterans or young guys, they just want honesty. I think they can read through air quotes BS or nonsense or whatever word you want to use, and I'm just going to be me. I know what I don't know, but I think they're, if they have a question, they're going to get an honest answer. And where we are as a franchise, I'm going to be honest with them. But Ryan is a good player, and I look forward to having more hockey chats with him.
Chris MacFarland's with us. I'm a big believer if you go get what you want, nothing's handed to you. I asked you about going to Pace University.
Yeah.
You said you went to law school, but you want to work the NHL. What did you do? You were telling us before you would go do something to make yourself known. What was that?
Yeah, that was an interesting, time for me. I wanted to be a scout, right? I wanted to scout in professional hockey. I really didn't have any clue how to do that, right? Like I knew, from a young age, I was, I played baseball, football, that stuff growing up, and, came to hockey a little later, and was not a very good player, obviously, and played at a low level and in college at Pace, and but I wanted to work. I just had no idea how to do it. It wasn't like, do X, Y, and Z and you're, get an accounting degree and you're a CPA. So I had a lot of help. I was a letter writer. I wrote to all the NHL teams, the GMs, assistant GMs, whoever would give me time. And I had a lot of help, guys like Larry Plow and Marshall Johnston and Al Arbor, the late Al Arbor, and Lou Lamoriello, and, Kenny Holland, and just, I wrote 1,000 letters trying to get one yes. And, Brian Burke, I got an internship at the league office in New York City, and Brian was a big influence on me. I was on the business side. I didn't really, that wasn't the goal, but I was able to walk down the hall and have conversations with Brian. I was, kind of scouting on my own and sending in reports. And like I said, I had a lot of help. And Brian was the one who suggested that I go to law school as a separator for me. So I did that, at night while I was, working, for the league and doing whatever I can do just to stay connected. And, as timing happens sometimes in life, I'm a firm believer in you make your own breaks. And when I was graduating law school, it was basically time to get real. And my wife and I, we're getting serious, and time to get a real job, or be able to pay the bills. And the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Minnesota Wild had been granted expansion franchises right around the time I was graduating law school. And again, some of those connections, whether it was from my time in the rinks or these people that I was fortunate enough to chat with and meet, made some calls for me to at least get my nose under them, and was very lucky enough to get hired by the Blue Jackets. And that's how I got my foot in the door. And like I said, I owe so many people, my mom and dad, and, my family, but a lot of people in hockey that took a chance on a young guy at the time, then younger guy, and that didn't really have to. So I'm very grateful.
But you kept knocking.
I kept knocking.
And I love this.
Yeah, I was 1,000 no guy to get one yes. Like
love it.
That's really what it was for me. And then in Columbus, when I got my foot in the door, it was, just how can I be useful? How can I add value? And Again, had Doug McClain and, that group there, the McConnell family in Columbus were very good to me, and lasted, 15, 16 years there. And
Wow.
And then and then made the move to Colorado, which changed my life and the life of my family.
Love it.
He is Chris MacFarland, the president of hockey operations and general manager of the Nashville Predators. One more for you, because I kind of brought this up in the press conference, asking you about those game-changing players, and they don't grow.
That was you.
That was me.
Okay.
That
All
was
right.
me.
Yeah. All right.
So you look at, Colorado, the two teams that are in the Stanley Cup final.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say all three were maybe constructed in different ways,
Yep.
but they did use, their draft picks to get a Sebastian Aho or some of those guys.
Yep.
Is that the fun part, though, that there's more than one way to build a championship contending roster?
I think so. I think every team in the league and the, the GMs and AGMs around the league, of which there's so many good ones. And it's a competitive league, right? We're friendly. But we're competitive. At the end of the day, everyone's competitive and trying to get better. And I think when you're in a different cycle, you're flooded with picks, you're not flooded with picks. You got to find different ways to skin the cat, whether that's college free agency or, the cycle we were in Colorado the last number of years was we were trying to win, right? And you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of that or a lot of that, depending on your perspective in terms of picks and prospects to try and get over the hump. And I think that's ultimately where everybody wants to get to. And, I think when I look here, there is legit good prospects. Are all of them going to pan out? I certainly hope so. And we're going to try and maximize the number of them that we can. Obviously the players have to do their part, but college free agency, the Preds signed Pinchuk, right?
Yep.
So that's a European, free agent there that, if he hits, right, and he hits in let's just say a third line center role, that's a home run, right? That's an avenue that I'm really excited about, seeing how he's going to do and add success to the group. And because that's a found player without really, it's just money, right? And it's, your scouts, and that's what they get paid to do. And but that's what excites me is the team building part and how can we do it. And I think it's going to be an amalgam of, whether it's trades, waivers, free agency. But I think here the fun part is, there is draft picks and there is prospects. So it's exciting.
Before you go, you found out you went to Pace University. I told you graduated a year behind Rachel Ray. So will we have a Rachel Ray night at Bridgestone Arena?
You tell me. I didn't. You can host it. I did. Yeah. That was news to me.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's do it.
All right,
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Chris, before I let you go, I texted former Predator and former Av Ryan Johansson, because I know he played briefly in Colorado, and I was like, hey, tell me about Chris MacFarland. And he said, one of the best humans in our game. He's the perfect guy to get us where we want to go. So that's an endorsement from Joey. So
Joey, yeah, no, it was, Joey grew up with the Blue Jackets, really talented centerman.
Oh, that's right.
Good guy, but that's very kind. So
we're excited. I can tell you're excited, and I know we're gonna have plenty of time to talk throughout this time. But congratulations,
awesome.
Welcome to Smashville, and we look forward to seeing what you have to do.
Awesome, appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll have more coming next. 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Wednesday at the BetMGM Sports Lounge at Bridgestone Arena. Appreciate Chris MacFarland for joining us. Really good conversation with him. And we got a text during that interview from Joey from Gallatin who said he wants to be here. That's a good sign. Very hopeful about the future with Mr. MacFarland.
I like it. I do. You know, we've been on this mental health thing for 2 years about, taking advantage of opportunities, being grateful for things. And the fact, I love his story of like, I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to hand me being a scout. I 1,000 no's for a first yes. I was like, this is passion, which is missing all too often from executives in this world. And to hear that from the new GM, to me, that spoke volumes.
Well, and I think the thing I love the most is just he's just kind of showed some vulnerability that he left a place that he loved for the past 11 years, how important his family was in making this decision, and the fact that, he's, drinking out of a fire hose a little bit to
Right.
come in here and meet everybody and learn everybody's name and look at the roster and coaching staff and stuff like that. And what I like is I get the sense, and look, he may after a week decide, all right, nope, I'm going to do this, this, and this.
Fine.
But I get the sense that he's cool taking his time. And so if anyone's expecting like, oh, he's going to make a coaching change tomorrow, he's probably not going to do that.
No.
Or he's going to trade this guy tomorrow. Probably not. He wants to kind of see it, go through training camp, go through development camp, go through the draft. Now I'm not saying he's not going to make any moves.
Sure.
But I can see him taking his time, do some evaluation, and then make an informed decision on the direction to take this team. And that's what you want to see.
Drinking from a fire hose is the perfect analogy for what he's doing right now.
Listen, I'll use this because I prepared my whole career to be a show host and be a program director. And when I did both for the first time for about 3 months, I was drinking through a fire hose.
Yeah.
Even though I knew what I was doing, one person probably said I didn't, but I knew what I was doing.
Right.
It's overwhelming because because there's so many different things that you don't even know that that are going to come your way. So it's a part of it, and I think Chris is certainly going to, he's been doing this as a GM in Colorado, but now he is the guy.
Yeah.
And now he can go through that all here. So we'll get back on schedule. We'll react more to this coming up next. Chasing Big Joe on this Wednesday, 102.5 The Game.
on it now, but I think all of us are looking forward to the cap coming off.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We'll have more coming next. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
Hi, guys. Big Joe here. Listen, it's the time we talk every day about men's mental health and tell you how you need to go to therapy, how therapy changed my life. And we tell you all the time how better our world is because you are here. And I understand the dark days, days you feel like that cloud's following you around. You got nowhere to go. Nothing good's happening. But I'm telling you, good things are happening all around you. You'll find that gratitude. That's why we're so honored to be partnering with UnityCares.com. UnityCares.com is the one place to go for you if you're feeling down, feeling low, just feel like nothing's going right for you. Their whole goal is to get you back living the life you absolutely deserve. And again, therapy changed my life. If you can do it for me, I'm telling you, it could change your world. The caring professionals at UnityCares.com, their whole goal, get you back living the life you deserve. And listen, you don't have to go through any of this alone. You don't. Go to the website, UnityCares.com. Once you get there, every question you need answers right there. How to pay for it, where can I go, what do they treat, anxiety and depression, everything is right there for you. It's private, it's secure, it's confidential, and they offer telehealth. Even better, they're based right here in Middle Tennessee. And again, their only goal is to get you back living the life you absolutely deserve. And again, if you're a loved one, notices one of your loved one isn't doing quite well, together, sit down, go to UnityCares.com and just see everything they have to offer for you. And again, I cannot emphasize this enough. You don't have to go through any of this alone. We tell you how much, all the time, how much we love you guys and we need you here. And that's why UnityCares.com is so important to us and so important to you. Again, the website, UnityCares.com.
Jason Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Wednesday, wrapping things up from the BetMGM Sports Lounge at Bridgestone Arena. We talked to Bill Haslam. You just heard that from earlier in the show. We talked to Chris MacFarland as well, and I know DVD will react to all of that coming up next. We have to move quickly here. Dr. Crane is here. Let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays.
All right, first we have Chimborazo Day, Global Running Day, Impersonate Authority Day, Love Conquers All Day, National Chocolate Macaroons Day, National Egg Day, National Itch Day. Make sure you get that itch. National Tailors Day. Shout out to the Tailors.
Fussy Bear has some itches.
Oh, yes, he does. I'm a good back scratcher. Repeat Day is today. World Bicycle Day, World Cider Day, and last but definitely not least, we got to make sure this is put out there, World Clubfoot Day. So there you go.
All right, when did your voice turn into Bill King?
Oh, you know.
All right, time
College football.
That's what happens when you drink coffee all day.
Not particularly. All right, here we go. Time for celebrity birthdays within two. Dr. Crane, you get to go first. How old is former NBA executive and coach Billy Cunningham?
71.
78.
83. Chaser, how old's golfer Hale Irwin?
77.
80.
81. You know when you make a good shot, everybody be like, what the hell? He's 81. Dr. Crane, how old is Jose Molina?
Let's go 52.
49.
51. Dr. Crane's up 2-0. Chaser, how old is Oz Hakeem from the Rams?
54.
62.
49. Dr. Crane, how old's Al Horford, former Florida basketball player?
Yeah, played the Celtics for a while.
Yep.
Al Horford is 36.
42.
40. Chase on the board. It's 2-1, Dr. Crane. Chaser, how old's Rafael Nadal?
41.
43.
40. We're tied at 2. Dr. Crane, how old is Mike Gordon? He's a bass player for the band Fish.
62.
76.
61. Dr. Crane's up 3-2. Chaser, how old is your favorite guy, Anderson Cooper?
58.
53.
59. Chase is up back on top, 3-2. All right, lightning round. Here we go. Dr. Crane, how old is bass player Too Slim of Riders in the Sky?
58.
56.
78. Dr. Crane, Chaser, how old is singer Susie Quattro? She was Pinky Tuscadero on Happy Days.
74.
77.
76. We're tied. Oh, Dr. Crane's up now 4-3. Dr. Crane, how old is singer Denise Williams? She's like, let's hear it for the boys on the Footloose soundtrack.
Let's go 78.
64.
76. Dr. Crane's up 5-3. Chase, how old is singer Dan Hill? He had a bunch of songs back in the day.
71.
70.
72. That's a
Chase guy.
Chase guy. That's right. 5-4. Dr. Crane, how old is actor Scott Valentine? He was Mallory's boyfriend on Family Ties.
Oh, boy. 79.
66.
68. And with that, we're
Tie
tied
ball
at
game.
we're tied at 5. Last one. How old, Dr. Crane? Guitar player Kerry King of Slayer. Kerry King of Slayer.
I'm going to go with 61.
65.
At the buzzer, Dr. Crane wins 6-5. Well done.
All right. Thank you.
All right, there you go. That is going to do it for us today. Thanks to Bridgestone Arena and the Predators for having us here. DVD coming your way next.
As we always leave the show to our guys out there who just heard the message a few moments ago, if you are struggling, please reach out. Please reach out to us at any time. We talk about you. We need you. We love you. Our world's a better place because you are here. Know how much we love you. We think you're doing fantastic, but please know more than anything else in this world, how much God loves you.
Peace, love, rock and roll. DVD coming your way next here on 102.5 The Game.